Dave Mustaine accuses my friend David Ellefson of trying to poach Megadeth's song's Kingmaker. It was so pathetic. Can we just address that? What did you poach of
Well,
his?
look, I'll say
what's
to
wrong?
this one, first of all, he's not my bandmate. He's a former bandmate, right? Once, we parted ways, I moved on, and got on with the business at hand, which, of course, is music. That's what I talk about. New music. Let the music do the talking, as our friend Joe Perry once said, right? Just get on with it, right? I don't like to get down in the mud because that's great for headlines and clickbait, but it doesn't really do much for anything else. It's news of the moment, and that passes, and then something else comes across the news feed. Look, I'm pretty well known because of music, and I'd rather be known for that than, fighting in tabloids and stuff like that. So, to me, it's like, why go down in the mud, and fight like a child? It's uncalled for. Regarding Kingmaker, it's interesting. The record was done, or at least my bass parts were done. And Dave, at the end of the session, at the end of the day, he said to me, hey, man, if you want to go through the record, if there's anything you want to add or tweak or change, blah, 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 giving me free license to do so. Because, he had signed off on everything. Said, all right, no problem. So after he left, me and Chris Broderick and Johnny Kay sat in the studio. And I said, I do have this one little bit, this little thing. And I showed it to them. And Broderick goes, dude, that would be really cool at the beginning of Kingmaker. I said, interesting idea. And in my opinion, I think Kingmaker is probably the better song in the record. And just, off the top for me. Johnny liked it. We sat, we worked on it, put it together, and we were all excited. Dave walks in the next day in a much different mood, grumpy, I might add, and not feeling so joyous as the night before. I said, hey, man, I think maybe Johnny, either me or Johnny said, hey, I got something I want you to listen to that we worked on last night. And it was this kind of, disapproving look. And Johnny plays it for him, all excited, because I think the three of us all heard the same thing. Hey, if you want to add anything, you want to work on anything, please do. Well, Dave didn't seem to maybe remember that conversation. And so what he walked into was, why the hell are you messing with my song? And I think he pulled Broderick aside and said, don't you dare add David Ellefson stuff to my songs. And we tested that little theory. I remember when I first came back to the band in 2010, we'd done a year of Rust in Peace. We had about 10 weeks to write the 13 record, the record to become 13. And I said, well, look, we're all going to be at NAMM in Anaheim. Why don't we just go down to Vic's garage, which is down in kind of by San Diego, Fallbrook area, north of San Diego. I said, why don't we just get in a room and fire some ideas and just see where we're at with everything, And I swear to God, the first day we were working, it took a couple of days because we were listening to stuff. Dave wanted to listen to everybody's ideas, and he acknowledged everybody had a couple of things that he liked. And so we get in a room, guitars on, saddle up, and we start playing on something. And keep in mind, I hadn't been in this environment for almost 10 years now, right? Because this is, 2011. Last time we'd worked on a record together was World Needs a Hero in 2001. Yeah, so literally 10 years. So, and I've been working with all kinds of other people where it's like, hey, killer idea. How about this? Oh, man, how about that? Collaborative, right? You're having musical conversation in the room. So knowing how things have been in the past, Dave will start with something, bring an idea in, and maybe someone says, hey, that's cool. How about we add this little bit here? Or maybe that riff goes with this riff. And I don't know. So I said, hey, I got something that might go with that. Dave immediately took his guitar off, walked in the office. I looked at Sean Drover, and Sean and Chris are just shaking their head. I said, what the hell is that all about? He goes, dude, trust me, the days of collaborating are long gone. Like that Megadeth that you were in, that's way over. So in the office, and Dave he was furious, but yet, we didn't want our newfound friendship to deteriorate. So I said, what's the deal? And he said, don't try to put your ideas into my songs. I said, no problem. I said, all good. Just today's day one. I said, no worries, and that was the last we ever jammed together. Everything after that, on every other Megadeth record after that, was just Dave writing the songs, doing his thing. Now that was different on this current record in 2019, where we were in the room together. Actually, Dave was doing his thing, and then he was off taking care of his medical stuff at the time. And so Chris Reichstar said, look, to me and Kiko and Dirk, said, look, you guys are here. We need to write a record. We got beginnings of 5 songs, and we've supposed to be working on this record for a year and a half. Get in a room, like, let's go. So we saddled up and started ripping on stuff. In fact, I remember there's one song, might have even been that first one that they put out, I can't remember. It was one of them, but I remember we kind of modeled it after Black Friday. We just kind of took, this sort of mellow intro into a full-on ripping part. And
it's funny you say that because I sat down with Paul Lorenzo, the drummer from Lost Symphony, and I played the new song, which, by the way, is incredible. I mean, it's really great. I love Megadeth, and he actually said this reminds me of Black Friday.
I think
that's
that was
literally
the
first thing that he said.
We modeled it.
It's the first thing he said.
Yeah. So we went down, and I remember Dave came in. Again, furious that we were working on stuff without him. And Rakestraw took the bullet and said, hey, it was my idea, man. These guys are here. Everybody's here to work. We need to get a record on. To which he replied, I want to know who wrote what part where. And I could see it coming. He goes, I knew he was going to see what parts I wrote and take them out, which he did. He took all my parts off the record, of which there were several. And, either rewrote them or, changed them just to make sure that I wouldn't have any writing on the record. And I just saw it coming. I rolled my eyes and just like, whatever, you know what I mean? So I was there for about 5 weeks, and then I went home for Father's Day, and I just never went back. I was like, whatever, I went back a year later to record bass. All of a sudden, all my parts are off the record, my kind of writing contributions. So we did work together on a track in 2021. It's funny, in 2021, a psychic called me up. A friend of mine, she did an interview for a Road and Track magazine. She calls me up. And one of the first things she says, she goes, yeah, Dave doesn't want you on the new album. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
You don't need a psychic for that, dude.
And I don't even need a psychic to tell me this. Yeah, right. I was like, it's pretty obvious.
Let me ask my Magic 8-Ball. Does Dave Mustaine want to relinquish control?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Pretty fucking unlikely.
And it was so funny what she said. She goes, he resents that he has to include you. He wants this album to be his story. He doesn't want you to be part of it. And I said, fair enough. I got 4 other records I'm working on. I mean, keep in mind, since this Megadeth record has been worked on in 5 years, I've put out 4 records, 2 books, and a movie. You know what I mean? So it's not like I've had lack of
and
content.
Coffee, you have new art line coming.
If you had Lost Symphony, there's probably record number 5. So
there you go.
We actually did 3 records with you, so you have 3 records with us.
So now we're up to like 8 records. So it is what it is. And again, I just let everybody have their time and their space to do what they needed to do. But so, I kind of saw events of last year as just the perfect opportunity to, choose box office over brotherhood. And, so honestly, I look back on it now, I feel like I got kicked out of hell. So whatever,